Everyone, welcome to Truth Lies Shenanigans. I go by the name Neo Nix, and I'd like to thank you guys for joining us today. Today is February 24th, 2021. For today's show, our spotlight on Black history will be Aquil Abdulah, the first African-American male to qualify for the Summer Olympics in the sport of rowing, and the first African-American rower to win the coveted Diamond Sculls race. Also in Hot Topics, Lizzie Enders asked if flags should be in half-staff for Rush Limbaugh. Rob B. Rock revisits the attacks on Asian Americans. And Gianni Storm wants to talk about the turtles in Texas. And of course, make sure you stick around to the end for our game show where, in honor of our guests, we'll test our knowledge of Olympic trivia. So make sure you share this live feed with your friends. Now, before we get into it, let me introduce you to my wonderful co-hosts, our professor, writer, editor, journalist out of Washington, D.C., Miss Lizzie Enders.
Hello, everyone. Happy hump day. No, I haven't been humping today. I have been teaching Black history, Claude McKay, a little bit of Harriet Tubman, but not too much. So I'm a little tired. So no humping for me today. We're just all focusing on our Olympic icon.
All right. And our very own rock star with the amazing rock band Fallen Machine, coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Mr. Rob B. Rock.
What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. It's great to be here. I've been looking forward to this show. It's just some really good energy since our show on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to just keeping up with that.
All right.
And streaming from Atlanta, Georgia, our model, actor, college student, and the show's infusion of youth and vigor, Miss Gianni Storm.
Hey guys, I am so tired today. I just have to let that be known because it's been a really busy month for me, but especially this week and today. So I am looking forward to sleeping in eventually. Hopefully, pray for me.
All right, we will pray for you. All right, so I do have a quick fire question for you guys. All right. Gwyneth Paltrow shared a selfie wearing a mask back in February 2020. In a New York Times interview recently, she insinuated that she was the trendsetter for mask wearing. So hosts, are you wearing your mask just to be like Gwen? Gianni Storm?
Why do people think that they're the originator of everything? We have a real pioneer on the show today, so.
That's right. Lizzie Enders?
Tell him.
Lizzie Enders?
Pioneer anything. Gwen, what were you talking about earlier today, Robbie? We were talking about vagina candles. So, she gave us vagina candles a couple of years ago. Now she's laying claim to mask, despite the fact that, the entire continent of Asia has been wearing masks for decades. Before she decided to bring her Goldilocks along. So no, I'm not giving her credit for anything. I never even saw that picture that she was referring to. I guess there was a picture of her back in February, before most people went on lockdown. She posted a picture where she had on a mask. And so from that, she's saying, see, I started the mask trend for everyone as it relates to COVID.
Let's tell everybody about it. Robbie Rock, what do you think?
Well, I mean, like Lizzie alluded to, Gwyneth did absolutely pioneer Goop-branded vagina-scented candles. Why you would want your home to smell like Gwyneth's vagina, I have no idea. But
not her vagina.
I'm wearing my mask for. You know what?
So you're not wearing it for Gwen then?
We're not wearing it because of inspired of Gwen.
Vagina-scented masks.
The
vagina-scented mask. So now the actual quote is, "This is a familiar pattern in my life," Paltrow says. "I do something early and everyone is like, what is she doing? She's insane." And then it's adopted by the culture. So anyone think this is just a misunderstood statement out of context or something? Or is she just a straight narcissist?
Oh, she's doubling down on her narcissism.
Yeah, I would go more so under narcissism. That's a heavy one, but she's more self-centered than anything.
There is nothing about my lifestyle or culture that I picked up from Gwyneth Paltrow. I can guarantee that. The best memory I have of Gwyneth Paltrow was when she was in the box. when she was in the box. Show me what's in the box in Seven.
In Seven. Oh, that's right.
Gwyneth Paltrow that I have.
Oh,
All right.
that's cold.
So if you've never been to TLS before, let me tell you a bit about us. Our hosts and guests share their truth and opinions with you, call out those lies, and point out any ridiculous shenanigans going on. And on this show, we always try to have fun with some shenanigans of our own. Our show streams live just about everywhere, but you can quickly find us on YouTube. Just go to TLSshow.com or search any of our social media platforms, TLS Show, at TLSLiveShow. Also, be sure you subscribe to our audio replay of the podcast on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. All right, so we've got a little bit of shenanigans out of the way. It's time to get some truth behind the history, our guest spotlight on Black history. Today's spotlight is on Olympic rower Aquil Abdulah.
What's good? What's up, everyone?
Welcome, Aquil.
Thank you.
All right, let me give you a little background on Aquil. Aquil is a Woodrow Wilson Senior High School Tiger. He was recruited for rowing at the George Washington University, where he graduated in 1996 with a degree in physics. He was on the U.S. national team from 1999 to 2004, where he competed at the 2001, 2002, and 2002 World Championships, and became the first African-American male rower at the 2004 Athens Olympic Games. He earned a silver medal in the single at the 1990 Pan Am Games and also won the Diamond Challenge Sculls in 2000. Currently, Aquil is the senior infrastructure engineer, but remains heavily involved in rowing, serving on numerous boards and advisory boards. He also has co-authored a book, Perfect Balance. Aquil and his wife Megan live in Massachusetts with their 2 children. Aquil, thank you so much for joining the show. Thank you for joining the show. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Akil. We appreciate your time.
So, Aquil, we gave you a long bio. So, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience a little bit about yourself that we didn't share?
No, I also
We lose them already?
in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah.
2 words
So
in.
yeah, I played saxophone with James Brown.
Oh, saxophone with James Brown.
Wait,
Wow, you've lived.
You played saxophone with James Brown?
Yeah, so I was training in Augusta, Georgia, and I had my saxophone with me, and I went to sit in with the house band at this bar, and winner came in and said, "Hey, we got a special guest who's going to get up and play with us." And so he gets up, he comes over, and he said, "I feel good here, D." What did he say? He said, the trumpet player next to him he said, "I feel good in the key of D."
In the key of D.
And we're playing it, and he said, "Here, give it to me one time." And I was like, "What?" The trumpet player said, "Kill, it's your solo."
Wow.
Yeah, that's actually one of that was a highlight of the career, probably.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's incredible.
Nice.
That reminds me of that Eddie Murphy bit in Delirious. What did James say? I don't care. Just keep playing.
All right, Aquil, so you were the first African American Olympic rower in the Olympics. Tell us about your journey to that.
Wow, that was that's it's crazy at Wilson. And my senior year, I decided I didn't want to run track, but I wanted to just chill but still be active and play sports. And so I decided to row. I had a bunch of friends that rowed, and they had been trying to get me to come out for this sport. And so I got like, man, you guys aren't athletes. And so I got on the rowing machine, and I did. And the next thing you know, I'm like falling off the rowing machine. I'm like, got a bucket, like hurling. And I just realized how tough it was.
Wow.
And I got really lucky in that the coach for George Washington University saw me and offered me a scholarship to row. And so I hadn't really decided where I was going to go to college, but I wound up like, senior beach week is on us. And I hadn't decided where I was going to go to school. And I'm like walking down the stairs, and my mom's like, "No, you're not leaving the house until you tell me where you're going to school next year."
Oh, nice.
And I knew that the guys had beers in the trunk of the car. So I just didn't want her to go outside when I was loading my bags. So I said, "I'm going to GW." And that's, I don't recommend that's how people make their decisions about college,
decisions.
but that's pretty much how I made mine. I mean, I knew in my heart what I wanted to do. But yeah, so I went on to GW, and there I I started to excel, and I started rowing in the summers. And I was at Potomac Boat Club in DC at what they call a development camp. That's where athletes have been identified as possibly being on track to make the national team.
Nice.
And the coach of Georgetown was Tony Johnson. Was like, it's like, "Akil, we've got some really good guys coming from Harvard and Dartmouth. I want you to try out sculling." And I was thankful for that decision, because that's sort of where I found my niche. I can row in a single. So in rowing, there's sculling and sweep. In sculling, each rower has 2 oars, and in sweep, each rower has 1 oar.
Okay.
And so that's sort of like the big boats that you see in college, or the 8s. Those are sweep. And so that's what I did through my college career. And so yeah, that's 2003. 2003 World Cup in Milan. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So back when I didn't have so much gray in my hair. But so yeah, so I kept at it. And in 1996, like pretty much that summer, after I had finished college, I went to the U.S. National Championships, and I won in the single scull, and I became the first African American to win U.S. Nationals. In England.
Wow.
And so that was pretty much, sort of part of it. I think the one thing I will say is, like, at no point in my career was my goal to be the first. Like, my goal was to win races and to be as best
to
as
do
I
what you
could,
love, right?
optimize my performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so in 2000, I'm poised to be the first African American male to go to the Olympics, and I was there. I was racing, like, so much hype. All the papers were like, "Yeah," and so in my second race, it's a 3 boat. You have to win 2 out of 3. And so I won the first race of the Olympic trials, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fired up." And then in the second race, I had an asthma attack.
Oh.
And and then in the third race, I lost by 33 hundredths of a second in
Wow.
2000. I was just like, I was devastated.
3,300.
Agony of defeat. Agony of defeat.
That's the thing with the Olympics. You lose by fractions of seconds in the Olympics. I mean, you win by fractions of seconds too, but Olympics is best of the
You've
best.
dealt with asthma your whole life?
Yeah. I mean, when I was a child, I had it really bad. Like I was hospitalized at least once.
That's what happened to my brother also.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, and so I grew. I mean, I grew out of it, but it's still sort of like conditions can be right to sort of cause it to act up.
Yeah.
I think also too, that might have something to do with DC, because I had it as a child as well, and I have severe allergies here because of all the pollen and the humidity and stuff, so forth. But I think it might be an environmental thing for us DC folks, because I've heard that story on several occasions.
Or people living in cities, I can see that.
Cities in general, probably. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why I live out in the country now. Got that nice, clean country air.
That's right.
So Lizzie,
did air. You miss this DC air.
I do. I miss it so much.
No, you don't.
Seriously, Adams Morgan. Like all the food. I mean, right now.
Have
it
you
doesn't
been back
matter.
recently?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Akil, when was the last
Actually,
time you were
true.
in DC?
That's a
Aw.
good point. That's a good point.
Wow.
It's changed quite a bit. It's changed quite a bit.
I just moved back in March of 2019. So I left DC right after high school. Long
Mm.
journey. Finland, Colorado, New York, then finally made my way back here. But the DC that I live in now is not our mama's DC.
Mhm.
It so isn't. I live at the waterfront, which when we were in high school, a little sketchy
Talking
over
about,
in
I
this
grew up
neighborhood.
around there. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Again,
A little sketchy.
in this neighborhood.
I went to Jefferson Junior
Exactly.
High, right over by you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean, he went to junior high school around the corner from me now, but the area is unrecognizable.
It
It's
is
Yeah.
very different.
Wow.
and
It's
it's for the
crazy.
better.
Oh, no
But
question.
yeah, you wouldn't recognize certain parts of DC coming
Depends
back
on your
here.
It depends on your feelings on gentrification as to whether or not it's for the better.
Yeah. I went to get a
I'm not talking
haircut
about the
and
peoples. I'm not talking about the peoples. I'm talking about just revitalizing certain neighborhoods, if you will, because there was a lot of
which has seemingly required gentrification. Okay, I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry.
which there was a lot of empty space over here just dwindling and doing nothing, collecting dust or creating crime spots. So at
yeah.
least they've developed a lot of the space over here. Like the building that I live in now is 3 years old. 3 years
Mhm.
old. So
All right.
when
Wow,
you come
fresh.
back, you need to go to Southwest, go to the waterfront, and just stand and be like, "Where the hell am I?" That's what you need to do when you come back.
All right, Robbie Rock, you have a question for Akil?
Well, yeah, I mean, 0.33 seconds, 33 100ths of a second.
Mhm.
Yeah. How did you deal with that as an athlete? Because we're not talking seconds, we're
Yeah.
talking a third.
Yeah.
What kind of impact did that have on you, and how did it strengthen your resolve right at the onset, or was it more of a crushing thing at the onset that you built from?
Thanks for taking me to a dark place, Rob.
What I do.
No, I think that I was lucky. I had a coach because I was devastated. Like more than anything, I felt like I had let friends and family down. And my coach at the time, Mike Tatey, was standing on the dock with me, and he said, my parents were standing down at the end of the dock, and he said, "Hold your head up, man." He said, "Look down there. Your parents still love you." And that was like one of those
Exactly.
soul crushing moments where I had to get out of my own way. And so that was hard, but it was like it was true. And then I got really lucky. I was invited to go to race in Henley that year, and I won. And that is one of the that was a very prestigious regatta, and to be the first again to do that, to be on history with Jack Kelly for Brickworks, like out of Philadelphia fame, like that for me was something that let me know that I could do this. I could compete at this level. And so it sort of did it at the moment. Not so much. I was ready to hang up my oars, but then sort of all of the things that followed let me know that my time wasn't over yet.
I have a question online for you from Reuven Gorn, another one of our classmates.
You remember
How
Reuben?
I know Ruben. Ruben Groove. I know Ruben.
he wanted to know, how was it switching from sweet to skull? Sorry, from sweet
Yeah.
to skull. It's tongue twister. Sweet skull.
Sweet to skull. It's not that difficult.
It's hey, you don't have the same tongue that I have. Go ahead. Go ahead. Akil.
Yeah.
Thank God. Thank God.
Yeah. Now I think it was a natural transition for me. It actually improved my sweep. Like I started to perform better. It's just more symmetrical. And so it's definitely in the single, it's more technical. You don't have a lot of people setting the boat up. There's only two people. Yeah, that's me and Henry at the Olympics
That's a good picture. That's a good
right
picture.
That
there.
is a good picture.
Yeah.
It's 2004,
So
right?
2004,
You still
yeah.
got those guns? You still got
Nope.
those guns?
Now I got, it's a little something left, a little something.
I don't know. Let's see. We got some more recent pictures. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
It's a little
it's
softer
still
now.
there.
A little softer now.
Yeah.
He said softer.
Not as cut now, but that's I got dad strength now.
Dad strength.
Mhm.
Gianni, what's your question for Akil?
So Akil, I know that you played football as well. How did your parents feel when you kind of gave up the pursuit of playing football in trying rowing?
Yeah. So my mother was elated because she did
That.
not like seeing her baby get hit on the field, playing, wide receiver and tight end.
That's the mother.
So my dad, who had played football, was a little less happy about it because one, it was foreign, really foreign to him, and sort of, we all have those ideas in our head about sort of what we want our children to become. But saying that, both of my parents were all supportive. My mom, my stepdad, my dad, they all were there for me as I continued the journey.
Lizzie, your question?
So a couple of things. First and foremost, what about, since it's Black History Month and we're talking about, you were the first,
Mm-hmm.
Olympic wise, first. You went up to be the
Yeah.
first. What about any adversity along the way? What
Yeah.
about any hints of what are you doing here, or
Mhm.
racism or looks? What was that story like for you? What was that experience?
Yep. Hidden racism. It was there. I think that, the Wilson alum will agree that not to, Gianni, to cut you and Rob out, but we went to a pretty diverse school.
Very diverse.
And
Yeah.
it really helped me to figure out who I was. I had in college, I had like one incident, not an incident, but like sort of for me that was like formative. I was hanging out with all of my rowing friends, and we went to Union Station for a movie, and I saw a bunch of my Black friends from Wilson, and I was like, I'm hanging out with all these white people, like what's going on? And I had to think about I had to think about who I was and what it was that I wanted to accomplish and what I actually thought of my friends. And so that sort of helped to form like a version of me that said like rowing is important to me, and people in my life who recognize that are the people that I want in my life. But then sort of taking that, forward, I was training in Princeton, New Jersey. And, we were hanging out with the students there and so on. And I always had a question of, am I accepted because I'm here rowing? You know, if I were just some Black guy that had walked in, would I still be accepted? That was always a question that I had in my head. And it is, after the sort of the George Floyd murder, I had friends that I had competed with and rode with, like, come and talk to me and said, you know what? I never talked to you about race. And that's shame on me. I never asked you how you felt about these things because we didn't, we were focused on sports. We were focused on winning, on optimizing our performance. But, me being the only, me being the other, even though we all were focused on the same goal and I knew that they had my back, it was still there, you know, the fact that I was Black. The one time that it was sort of overt, I was in Japan, and there was some drunk guy on the train who started, yelling at me in Japanese, and our interpreter was like, "No, I'm not going to tell you what he's saying," you know. And so, but it messed with my mind a little bit in the sense that, I always knew that like there is some acceptance because I'm here as an athlete, as a rower. And you get a little unsure sometimes of what people really think of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear it maybe it's a joke that people tell. And they're like, "Oh yeah, but Akil, he's all right," It's subtle because these are people that they don't think that this bothers you. But it
Because
gets into some deep places.
as a black athlete, you had to be in those white environments.
Mhm.
Which
Well, and crew and rowing, it's a white sport. It's
right.
at least in the United States, it's a very affluent white sport.
Mhm.
It's an Ivy League sport. Most of the crew teams are on the East Coast in this, at least for college level, in this country, except for USC, where they try to cheat and get those rich kids on the crew team and say they were crew, but they really weren't crew. But that's a whole other story. But yeah, it's a very elite sport.
It is.
But even
Yeah.
though it's elite, Akil, what about getting paid? Like when you think
Mhm.
of rowing, especially
Yeah.
professional rowing or Olympic level rowing, world championship, like is there a lot of money in that? Can you make a living off of that?
I'm not
No?
talking to you from my yacht. I'm talking to you from
What are you
a
talking about?
room that
That's
doubles
where I
as a
thought you were
playroom,
calling
a
in
workout
from.
room, an office. No, you bring up a very good point. There's a couple of things I do want to say. One is that there are a number of, of people of color rowing
Now,
at now, not when
yeah.
I was not when I was growing, but and recently there was an organization called Black Coaches and the Black Coaches and Rowers Association that I
Hmm.
that I that I work with, and it's just amazing to see the kids transcend now. There was a rower from UVA. Her and her twin sister are athletes there. She's a rower. Her sister's a lacrosse. They started on Instagram, athletes for Black Lives Matter. So I really see this organization that you really didn't see. The ability to connect now is so larger. So even though when I was rowing, there may have been more Black and rowers or people of color rowing, but we couldn't make those connections because the social media wasn't there. The ability to connect
Mhm.
wasn't there.
Mhm.
Good point. Good
So
point.
I've seen it grow. But getting back to getting paid, I think that that's one of the things. Like, why should I row? Like if you're a kid and you're from under resourced area, rowing isn't going to help you. How do you see the value? How do you place the value on it? And so the answer to your question in short is no. There's not a lot of money in rowing, and so for me, it was never. It was about the dream that happened. Sorry, I'm babbling here. I talked to my daughter's kindergarten class yesterday, and I talked about how I saw the Olympics in 1984, LA Games. I didn't tell them the full story of like me, like standing, with like this right here, and like in the bathroom going dun, dun, and my mother walking in and saying, "What is wrong with you, boy?" But like that's where the dream started for me. So it was about
Wow.
fulfilling that dream, coming full circle. Like that was part of it
Wow.
for me. But no, there's not a lot of money in rowing. But there is a lot of access in rowing.
Mm.
And that is one thing that I have really benefited from. Like the people that I know now,
Got
the
some
people
comments
on.
on. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Finish up. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and this is actually why I think that there's a movie called A Most Beautiful Thing right now about, it's a documentary about the first Black high school rowing team in the country in the late
Wow.
90s.
Wow.
Where
And
were they?
Very
Arshay
cool.
Cooper, he went on to be a chef and all of this stuff. But the story there can connect. If you're a CEO that went to Harvard and you see a movie about rowing and these Black kids, you can connect with that story through rowing. So it's about that access now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a
So
couple of comments online. I've got Liana Jones says, such awesomeness. Monica Alicia says, I remember watching. It was so exciting to watch. Um, and Reuven Gorin had one last question. Did you have any black teammates at any time after high school?
No. Oh, I mean, at clubs. So yes. So when I was at Potomac Boat Club training for the Olympics, yes. But once I sort of made it to sort of the national team, no. So pretty much like 6 years, I had no other teammates that were black.
Wow.
And I only have one question for you, because I read online. There's a challenge of being black, obviously, but you were in the Olympics around September 11th time frame, right? And there was a story that I had read about you where you were literally on a no-fly list because you had a Muslim name. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Wow.
Yeah, you want to talk about crazy. I'm getting on a flight to actually go out to a competition in Seattle, and show up at the airport, and the person at the desk says, "We have to wait for you to be cleared to fly." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I said, "Yeah, the FBI office hasn't opened yet, and you have to wait." I was like, "But my plane is in an hour. Like I need to get on the plane." And the feeling of going to represent your country and being stopped and told you can't fly and missing a flight. I mean, that was crazy. And what bothered me was the what I call security theater, right? Because if I had changed my name to John Smith,
Mm-hmm.
then there would have been no problem,
Mm-hmm.
right? And anyone intent on doing harm is not going to fly as Aquil Abdulah, right? So
I
it's
bet.
it's it's theater. It's
Mhm.
it's it's weak. It's not real security.
Right.
And so like that whole no fly list to me is just
Yeah, that was
it's
ridiculous.
a bunch of BS. It's not. So yeah, so that hurt. And the other thing I couldn't figure out was how was it that the same Akil Abdul with the same address, same passport, flying out of the same airport for the past 5 years, you know,
Suddenly on
like
a yep.
suddenly can't fly.
Crazy.
But
I mean, that was and that just points to the you weren't just dealing with racism, but you were actually dealing with you know religious. I mean, because I don't know what your religion is. I'm not gonna you know I'm not
yeah,
gonna ask you that, but I'm just I mean you're dealing with the same persecution of religious persecution as well. So
Religious,
yeah,
religious persecution, but also xenophobia, because it's assumed when you see the name Akil Abdullah that you are not American, that
hmm
you were most
yeah,
likely Muslim from the Middle East.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's all
yeah,
of it. It's all of it. Every one of those things. Every one of
yeah.
right.
those things.
Yeah.
And you're
And
an
truth be told,
Olympian, a U.S. Olympian dealing with this is just absurd.
Did you hit
yeah.
him with? Do you know who I am? Did you hit him with that?
That
Well, I
would have been
mean,
funny.
I tried, but she said no. But no, I have no idea who you are, sir.
So I have a quick story
Wow.
for you. Try to make this
Make
as
it
quick as
yeah, make
possible.
it quick because we got to move on.
So you in high school you didn't really have any black um teammates, correct? On the crew team at Wilson? Were there any other black
One,
people?
Ben Eaglin,
Oh,
Oh,
actually two.
I remember
I
Ben.
take it back. Two. Nikki Core.
Nikki Core. Yep, Nanika Core.
Nikki
Yep.
Core. Okay.
Sorry.
So it was almost three, Akil. It was almost three. So I think by the time you guys actually started rowing, I had already dropped out. But for
Mm,
novices, you know how they you have to try out in the fall and then again in the spring. And so I
yeah.
tried out in the fall of 90. Um,
Ah.
and My dad was taking me, so I was at Thompson Boathouse every day, after school, before school, then doing the workouts and all that stuff. And at the time, my dad had a lot of medical issues, and so he didn't want me, especially for the 6 a.m. practices. He
Hmm.
was just like, "I can take you. You're fine if you're coming after school and you're late,
Yeah.
but I'm not letting you get on the subway to go to the other side of town at
Yeah.
5:36 in the morning." So that was one. He would no longer, be my ride there. But also too, I was just like, I really want to do, like, why are you trying out for crew? Like, where did you get this idea in your head, Elizabeth? And it was because I liked a boy. Not gonna tell you which boy, but it was because I liked the boy. And I was like, okay, you can be on the crew team. So I was almost show teammate. And I can't remember the coach's name. He was a white guy who was in the Air Force.
Joe
Um,
Shuttleworth.
Yes, 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 yes. And so he wanted Maya Eaglin was one of the coxswains, and
Maya,
uh,
yeah.
she and I kind of had the same frame, like we were just tiny girls with big boobs. And so he was like, "Yeah, I think I want you to be a coxswain." I'm like, "I don't want to sit in the front. I want to row. Like if I'm getting up
Yeah.
and doing all this working out and stuff, I want to row." So that was another reason why I kind of dropped out. So I did all of the fall workouts, but then
Hmm.
come January, February, when you guys really got into it, I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this anymore." Oh, and another thing
Yeah.
that changed my decision, you know how when you're practicing and they flip the boat over for the first time to prepare you for an actual, I wasn't ready for, and I'm a good swimmer. I'm an excellent swimmer. I was not prepared for that. I was not, because he didn't
All
tell
right,
us.
we gotta
He didn't tell us. So yeah, I was almost your teammate. I was almost your teammate.
almost. All right, Akil. Unfortunately, we are out of time, but we actually want to ask you to stick around a little bit, join us for our game show. We're doing Olympic trivia.
Nice. I
All
will
right,
be here.
but before you leave, are there any last words, anything you want to share with us about your experience as the first African American male rower in the Olympics, or anything? And then also tell people how they can get in contact with you if they want to get more information about
Okay,
About
cool.
rowing.
Yeah.
I want to get started
So
rowing.
I will tell you, if you want to get in touch with me, you can hit me up at Aquil_Hydro on Instagram. So that's how you can reach out to me. I will say that the experience of going to of walking into the Olympic Stadium, that
Ooh,
was something I will never forget. I mean, you just can't
I,
imagine being in a dark tunnel and coming out to fireworks and just pandalarium. That for me is just something that will always stick with me. You know, and I think that what I will say is that if you find something that you love, do it. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't. So find a vision and just keep working at it.
Well,
good
Akil,
advice. Sound
once
advice, brother.
again, thank you so
Sounds
much.
advice.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing what you've done, making history in the way you've
Thank
made
you,
history.
Akil.
I know you had some challenges, so we do appreciate that. So
Yeah.
thanks again for joining us, Akil. We'll see you shortly.
We'll see you in a few.
All
We'll
right.
see you in a few.
All right. A wonderful guest,
Fun.
wonderful guest. So,
Flabbergasted.
all right,
Flabbergasted.
let's get into our hot
Breaking
topic.
barriers.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, I don't know what's going on with that graphic, but our hosts, let me tell you a little bit about hot topics. Our hosts bring you hot topics they want to share. We'll ask, is it truth, lies, or shenanigans? Our panel will talk about it for a bit until time is up. And then we'll go to our audience for questions and comments. So make sure you're talking to us in all our threads. We are listening to you. So let's start out with Lizzie. So Lizzie, they're trying to give Rush Limbaugh dignitary honors. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
It's truth and shenanigans. I always get the topics or pick the topics that are truth and shenanigans, but unfortunately, this is a sad truth. So, as most of you know, Rush Limbaugh, he passed away last week. Finally gave in to his body, gave in to cancer that he'd been suffering from, I think, for a few years now. Rush Limbaugh was a resident of Florida. And the Florida governor, DeSantis, has decided, that he was going to call and enforce that flags in the state of Florida be lowered to half staff
Hmm.
in honor of Rush Limbaugh. And lowering a flag to half staff when you are in a stately building across a particular state, across the country, or if you're on a boat, people sometimes get this confused. But half staff is for when you're on land, half mast is when you're on a boat. But when you do that, it's supposed to be for politicians, for dignitaries, for military people, for patriots. It's not supposed to be for your friend. And that's all Rush Limbaugh was to the governor of Florida. And he even said, we're really good friends. So my question to you, one of the other politicians in the state of Florida, came out, Nikki Reed, came out and said, I'm not doing this. He was a known racist. He was a known rebel rouser. He, in the 90s, he spoke horribly about, AIDS victims. He was homophobic. He was all of these bad things. So why would I ask my staff, no pun intended, to lower the flag at half staff? So my question to you all is, would you defy the governor, or would you do it? Let's start with Gianni.
I feel like, oh,
You're fine. Go ahead.
you can't hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh,
Now we can.
I said that I would definitely defy the governor. I feel like too often the American flag is, sorry for the background noise. The American flag is too often like, it looks like a political thing. Like it's not meant to be that. So why are we using it in that respect? And I just feel like Rush, I didn't know him. I'm not even gonna lie. For some reason, I do remember his name. Like, I don't know why. I remember that name.
You didn't miss anything.
It was synonymous with asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Go
So
ahead.
no, I would have not listened, especially in this climate that we're in now. Like, it's okay to defy him, and then you have support for that, or there's like it makes sense, you know.
Robbie, what do you?
What about you, Rob?
Well, Johnny, just to give you an idea about Rush, his radio persona played a huge role in reshaping views of the political right, because his approach was always to demonize his opponents, reject compromise, and to embrace conspiracy theories, and he really conflagrate them. So these are tactics that really inspired the party of former President Donald Trump. It plays right into it. So former President Trump espoused these values, and he really gave them more credence from his pulpit for 4 years, really emboldening that right-wing element that's destructive. So I fully support Nikki Fried's decision to keep the flag flying high. Absolutely. I don't think that I would have conformed either, because, as Liz said, this wasn't a patriot. This wasn't a political leader. This was a media figure who happened to be a friend of DeSantis. So no, you can fly your own flag at half staff.
Yeah.
Thank you for teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
But to make it a decision across Florida, to mandate it as a government decision, no.
So I have a question. So do we know, are there penalties for what she's chose to do?
You know what? Honestly, I don't know. She's head of, I believe, Nikki Fried is the head of state agriculture in Florida. I don't know if there are penalties or not, but I mean,
it wasn't an order. It was more of a request directive. It wasn't a state order. So I don't know that there would be any penalties for it.
Okay.
And I don't think there's anything in the state law that says that you have to, abide by what the governor says about, honoring someone like that.
Well, then my answer to that question is really simple. It's hell no. I mean, I would not follow DeSantis's order ever. I mean, he's a racist. He's a misogynist. He's every bad ist that you can think of. He was a pretty much horrible person.
Horrible person.
I mean, and if we look at, if we're comparing him to someone like Trump, Trump we know was a horrible person. Very similar individual. Matter of fact, Trump gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, I think it was. I think that's the name of his. Which is
free and who?
Right.
For whom?
I mean,
for whom?
And you ask yourself, what did Limbaugh do? I mean, what did he do to deserve any of the accolades? I mean, outside of probably raising a whole lot of money for those people, for those candidates, and rallying people around those particular candidates and helping those candidates get into office. That's all he's done. And of course, as we know, the type of people that he used to get them into office, we're talking supremacists, white supremacists, and all of that. So, and the far right. So, no, I would have definitely gone against that order, that especially with no penalties. So, what are your thoughts,
Johnny,
Lizzie?
just a couple of examples of how awful this person was. So he had a show, he had a talk show, he had a radio show. He was very visible as a talk show personality. So once on his talk show, after Barack Obama was elected, or was after his inauguration in 2009, Rush Limbaugh started airing on his show a racist parody called Barack the Magic Negro.
Really? Why
Barack
didn't I don't remember this.
I don't remember
Look
that.
it up. Barack the Magic Negro. Okay. During the Rush Limbaugh show in 2013, he said, if any race of people should not have guilt about slavery, it's Caucasians. The white race has probably had fewer slaves and for a briefer period of time than any other race in the history of the world. He also used to frequently, make these references or comments, and this probably is a good segue into Rob's hot topic. Ching cha, ching chang, cho chow, ching cha, cho cho cho. That's how I refer to them. So yeah, this is not a good American. This is not someone who is about unity, who is about patriotism, who is about embracing, everyone having a part of the American dream, if you will. He was a separatist, he was a racist, he was a misogynist, and he was a homophobe. So I don't see why, as a state, like if Ron DeSantis wants to do that, honor him with his flag at the governor's mansion or in his own home, that's fine. But statewide, absolutely not.
And DeSantis is just like the rest of them. Both Trump
Awful.
and
Awful.
Limbaugh was. I mean, do I, I never want to talk bad about someone who's passed away, but I can't help it. I mean, he was a horrible person. So
he was a horrible person. What I said was, because he has children, he has a widow. You feel bad for the family because they are hurting. Their loved one is no longer here.
I remember you said that last.
Beyond that, all right, that's one less racist person with a platform that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
So.
So online we have Jose says deplorable person. George Fournier says such an honor should be restricted to statespersons. Vicky Smith says as long as his friends are taken care of. It amazes me how stupidity and hate prevails in this country. Then again, it doesn't. And then Sherry Blaine Priest says, "Oh my, Neo Nix, I heard that." Reuben Gordon said the same thing. Did you just swear, Neo? Yeah, I rarely swear. I rarely swear. I just, people like Limbaugh, Trump, they're just, I don't have other words for them. I mean, the whole thing is like when you swear words are like, they're just cop outs. Because usually if you have a good vocabulary, you can come up with other words to use, but there really aren't many other words for these people. So.
And I take offense to that statement because I have a vast vocabulary. If I'm using a swear word, if I'm using a curse word, it's because I'm choosing to use it, not because I don't have the other option. It's because I particularly want to use that word in reference to you.
And what I'm saying is I'm not sure I have other options to describe these people other than a lot of these swear words. That's what I'm saying.
I wasn't talking about your vocabulary. I'm talking about my
I don't even know that there's actual words in the dictionary that can truly describe them that aren't cuss words.
No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you, because he's someone who is so vile. Yep. So vile.
He really is. He really was. Has been. Yeah. All right, next hot topic. Thank you, Lizzie, for that topic. Appreciate that.
Shenanigans.
All right, Robbie, you want to talk a bit more about attacks on Asians because of COVID. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
Well, I'm going to follow suit with Liz. This is truth and shenanigans. So, just last week in London, Ontario, which is located southwestern Ontario, a billboard outside of a popular local restaurant, the Ale House, which is known for having controversial messaging on its billboard, criticized Ontario Premier Doug Ford's measures to stop the spread of COVID-19. So on Thursday morning, the board read, Mr. Ford, history will show lockdowns cause more damage to the public than the China virus. Eee. So, as you can imagine, this prompted a really speedy response across all social media platforms with calls for the message to be removed immediately. One of the big proponents was the University of Western Ontario, which is a very technical institution. They put out the messaging hard, and within an hour or within a couple of hours, they had received over 2,000 signatures. By lunchtime, the restaurant had changed the sign to read, we love Chinese people. We hate the genocide and China virus your commie government has inflicted on us. Finally, on Friday, there was a new sign that read, calling out an oppressive government is not racist, period. We have heart, respect for all people. So I checked out their website, and there's a statement from the owner, Alex Petro, saying that there's a statement to clarify concerns from the public regarding an alleged incident of racist behavior on his part towards the Asian community. I can 110% assure you that what has been alleged did not happen. So he claims that he's spoken to 4 different media outlets about this and to view their cameras so that the footage can be reviewed because he's saying that this is falsified. The establishment does have a history of putting up these inflammatory types of messages. And I guess this is really just a follow-up from Johnny's story because this has no place in our society. Do you believe that the owner's disclaimer or apology is sincere, genuine, or is he simply reeling from the backlash for a racist message? 2 racist messages, actually, in the same morning.
I'll start if you want.
Yeah, please.
All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate because I like to do that from time to time. So, uh, you know, there are some people who may not recognize that it is, especially if you hear it enough over and over again from maybe someone that you trust or you believe is a good person like Trump, and you hear it over and over again, and you don't recognize the racism in it. Um, there are people who may realize that after they've been told and then feel like they want to apologize for it. It's quite possible that he recognized his mistake because there's no question it's racist. Um, but again, if Trump is saying it all the time, the China virus, and then justifying it, saying because it came from China, it's the China virus, right? Not recognizing the actual inherent racism in it, then I could see a store owner putting that up and putting it on his sign and not realizing that. I'm looking at Lizzie's face, not realizing that it's racist, and so he made the change, and then he tried to switch it up a little bit the second time around. It's still wrong, obviously, and so I don't know. I'm not saying I totally accept his apology, but I'm willing to accept. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, Lizzie, you clearly have something to say. Wait, I can't hear you, Lizzie.
Muted.
Oh no.
You're
Lizzie,
muted,
we can't
Liz.
hear you.
We can't hear you, Lizzie.
Can't hear you.
Bullshit. There we go. There we go. I was muted for a second because I was trying to collect my thoughts. An apology isn't defensive. When you are asked to apologize or show some type of contrition, you are really sorry. You're not, taking a defensive stance and coming back, with still having some subtle digs into referencing your previous statement.
It's hard for me to argue against that, to be honest.
Even in addition to that, I mean, the virus has an official name. It's been given a scientific official name. So it takes a lot for you to deviate from that name and take it back to calling it the China virus. And when you say the China virus, you're not talking about the government. The government is not the one or the people that are being attacked in the streets, that are facing all of these, racist incidents. It's the people. And it's not even just people from China or Chinese Americans. It's anybody that they think looks Asian. So yes, no, I don't buy that apology. Like people are smarter than what we are giving them credit for. If you were going out there and deliberately saying the China virus, then you probably have said some other derogatory things about Chinese people, about Asian people in the past. So yeah, no,
Johnny,
no.
Very
even if
interested to
you
hear
think
your
that,
thoughts because it's a follow up from your story last time, Johnny. Very
yeah,
interested to hear your thoughts.
yeah. So I mean, of course it's inherently racist. I think that it's more ignorant. It shouts out like it's more ignorant
Yeah.
and that's
than
what I'm
anything.
saying.
Because yeah, and then especially I feel like with it was getting from bad to worse, of course, with the responses. But how did he even get to anti-Chinese rhetoric from like you said that there were like past political messages like wash your hands or wear a mask. I don't know how that's politics, but but like those kind of like messages, and then it went to this. So I was like, did
No,
somebody
like
get hired and fired, or
he's used his billboard to just put politically charged messages out there, and that was part of his apology, saying that he's used this platform to attack their government or our Canadian government, attack other governments, just to post opinions, and that's fine and dandy. But I mean, really have to be careful what you put out there, especially if this is
yeah,
your establishment, your bread and butter. And like I was saying, university or Western University out of London is, I mean, that's math, physics, engineering. It's computer science. It's a very technical school with a lot of international students, if you will.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
Also,
Horrible
London
choice.
has a
Horrible choice.
very diverse community. So you can't be doing stuff like that because your university
Yeah,
also,
populations are made up of international students. It's and these are people with the
huge
disposable
population.
income that want to go to restaurants and support these establishments. I honestly think that he wasn't expecting that backlash because he's done it so brazenly over the years, and people just kind of go, that's funny, that's insightful, or he's just pissing people off. But at least it gets people talking. But I think that he put out the wrong message and then he doubled down on the wrong message, and that's where I
The wrong
really
way.
have a problem
Yeah,
with it, because if you're being
yeah,
called out, at least have enough self-awareness to go, maybe I am out to lunch on this one.
and,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and apologize, give a good, genuine apology. But also, if you were going to be that brazen
Right.
and that bold to put up a marquee like that, at least, use correct grammar. It's THAN,
from the professor,
N. Okay, use the right form of then and than.
the
If
English
you're gonna be
professor.
that bold, if you're gonna be that bold,
All right, let's get
But
to
the
the
set on
comments online. Go ahead,
the
Robbie.
set award only comes with so many E's. You have to use the A.
Maybe,
That's
maybe.
true.
All right, so we got a few comments online. So people weren't feeling my devil's advocate argument. Leanna Jones says, nope, not no. Mike Winter says, you finna get dragged by Liz. Uh, oh, yeah. Oh, looks like Ruben is gasping at the profanity on this show.
knows
The
me.
profanity.
Jose said she had the same look on her face as Lizzie when I was talking. So
See,
Daria Winter says ignorance cannot be the excuse for slips of the tongue used to hide the overt racism that is demonstrated through the words selected to convey attitude. Mike Winter said, when you want to be a racist store owner, you have the right to do that, at least here in the U.S. Then you have to deal with whatever consequences. If it is hate speech, you have no right to hate speech. Sorry. And Sherry Blaine Priest says, I agree with Robbie Rock 100%. Sylvie Devio?
Devio.
Devio. What about the variants,
Devio.
UK and African? What are the proper names? I'm just asking.
And I mean, do we
Oh,
really
I'm
want
sure that they have a designation. a number letter designation, but I don't know their
COVID
proper names.
19 dash 123 or something.
Yeah.
Well, and do we really want to start getting into, calling countries out for the disease and, imperialism that they bring to
I
other
know.
countries? Like, do we really want to go there?
Yeah.
Because we can.
Yeah, that's
Because
true.
if we really want to call out countries, we should call out the one that spread it, that's spreading it like wildfire, which is the U.S. So if we really want to talk about countries, the ones that spread the hell out of it is the U.S.
Let's start calling it the Trump virus. The Trump virus. That's what
Yeah, that's what we should be calling it.
Trump virus.
I mean, sure, it may have originated in China, but we know who spread the hell out of it. So anyway, all right, we got to get on to our next hot topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Gianni, you don't have much time, but you've got a nice story about turtles. Is this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
So this is a happy truth for you guys. In a recent National Geographic article, I read that about 5,000 turtles were something called cold stunned, or yeah,
Yeah, that's
frozen.
right. That sounds right. Yep.
Something stunned.
Cold stunned.
So sea turtles were rescued from freezing waters on Texas Island. This happened after Texas's rare cold snap that left many without heat and power. And so it also affected nature as well. It affected these sea turtles. A lot of them were washed up on shore, and as you know, sea turtles don't just hang on the beach for fun. There's something wrong. So once dozens and then dozens, or hundreds rather, of sea turtles ended up on shore, that's when the members of, let me get their name, Sea Turtle Incorporation in Texas, volunteers decided to act. So what happened was, well, sea turtles can't regulate their body heat under 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're cold-blooded animals, as we know. They rely on ambient. So once the temperatures dropped at those rare levels on South Padre Island in Texas, the sea turtle population slowed down, rendering them paralyzed but still conscious. So with the help of dozens of the local volunteers, despite their circumstances at home, rushed to rescue the animals off the beach and into the rescue facility where it was much warmer. So without that immediate reaction by the volunteers, the freezing cold would have killed off the entire population of 4,009 sea turtles, which was also wiping out 40 years of like conservation work by the Sea Turtle Incorporation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An amazing story.
Yeah, it's crazy. So they kind of like mini heroes in a way. I don't necessarily have a question. I really just want to get you guys' reactions and any comments on this. Finally, a good story in 2020.
Yeah. Go ahead, Robbie.
It is a feel-good story. It's wonderful that everyone came together to save these critters who needed saving. I think that's a beautiful story. And I think on the flip side of it, we need to, I think between us, climate change is real. There's no debate. I think that people
talking about?
everywhere need to get on board. Neo, don't start this with me.
Don't let me have to play devil's advocate.
He was ready.
Don't play devil's advocate on this one. But for me, I think it's so important that when we hear these stories, that we take inventory of our consumption habits. And that's the products that you consume, how they're made, how they're manufactured, how they're grown. Is it sustainable? One of the simplest changes that you can make, liquid soaps has become all the rage in the last few decades. Switch back to dry soap, because converting soap to liquid is a huge energy cost, and it's all shipped in plastic bottles.
Really?
So that's just one small change that you can make, because if you switch to dry soaps, they're typically shipped in either paper, cardboard, or metal tin, products that are more easily repurposed,
Recyclable.
reused.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So one small tip. Friend of the turtles. Friend of the turtles.
Friend of the turtles. Lizzie, real quick.
This just is another reason for me to like give Ted Cruz the finger. So you decide that all of this mayhem and foolishness and freezing is going on in your state, even down to the sea turtles. You decide to get on a plane and take your family to Cancun and then blame it on your daughters and lie about it. Like there's so much going on, and he's not for climate change. So he would, even if he had stayed in Texas, he wouldn't have been,
Horrible.
a proponent of this. He wouldn't have cared. But this just goes to show you the small mindedness of these people. Like it affects what's happening right now in Texas affects so many different variables. And for you to just take this, I'm out approach as an elected official is horrible. It's horrible. So yes, this is a feel good story. I've never seen a sea turtle in person, and so I would love to see one up close and personal.
Cute. They're
I would
very
love to
cute.
see one up close and personal.
Baltimore Aquarium.
I've seen little ones, but I've never seen
Aw.
one. If I did, I don't remember.
Oh, the
Like
huge
maybe
ones.
remember when the aquarium back in the day, Neo? Did you guys go on aquarium field trips?
All the time, yeah.
Maybe there was one in the aquarium. I don't
Aw.
remember, but I'm looking
Yeah,
at
you
this
had
little
to.
guy here. I would love to see one in person. I would love to. So I'm happy. Thank you for this story.
Yeah.
Thank you for this story.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a feel good story, and climate change is definitely real.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I mean, when you look at
I was
if we're just talking climate change real quick, yeah, if you look at the temperatures drop in Texas, it's not the first time it's ever been cold, but the thing is
right.
you're looking at a trend of across the world. So when it's part of a trend across the world of like cold and hot, and climate changing, then you say, okay, so anyway, but yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
I love to see the turtles rescued because I've seen turtles um, I've been to Cape Canaveral, and Cape Canaveral's like it has this shorelines to go for miles and miles of untouched shoreline, because
Nice.
people who are on the NASA base can go to the shores, but it's pretty much untouched. And man, they have sea turtles that come and lay their eggs and stuff, and it's amazing to watch.
Aw,
And you can see the sea
very
turtles.
cute.
How big are the eggs? Do you know? Like, are
Like
they huge?
chicken
They're
eggs.
like pearl sized.
Okay.
They're very small.
Well, they are. They're a little small.
Yeah, they're very small.
No,
Yeah.
I would love to see them up close. I would love to see them.
All right, time is up. All right. So thank you for that hot topic. We appreciate that. That was a fun one, a good one. All right, now it's time to get on. Well, I'm sorry, I got to get to some of these comments because there were some really good comments online. So I got called out. Apparently, Mike Winter says I'm finna get dragged by Robbie again, again by Robbie. He also said Bahamas, Atlantis. Jacqueline Rom said, Dairy Winter, you said the operative word they don't want to admit climate change is real because it hurts their pocket. And Dairy Winter said, absolutely. George Fournier says, a story like that gives you faith in humankind at a time when it's so desperately needed. And Jose says, warm and fuzzy feeling. Warm and fuzzy feeling.
Aw.
All right, let's jump into our game show. All right, and we've got a special guest coming back. Uh-oh,
Yeah.
what is that? Oh, is that, did he put on a medal? Did he put on a medal? He's ready. What?
Whoa!
Aquil Abdulah
Wow.
joins us again.
Fired.
All right,
Nice.
so today's game is Olympic trivia. We're going to go round robin style, and I'll ask a question, and you'll have 4 multiple choice answers. You get it right, you get a point. Person with the most points wins the final thought for the show. So, Aquil, you have a chance to. So you might have to prepare a final thought if you win.
I'm ready.
All right, all right.
Just
So,
Akiko, I am a sports journalist, so
Ooh.
Ooh.
well, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm
We'll
not
see.
ready. I'm not ready.
We'll see. So this might be a battle between Lizzie and Aquil. Let's see.
I don't have that hardware.
All right.
That pretty.
So here's the question. I'm going Gianni Storm first. So, number 1, an Olympic gold medal is made mostly of a what metal? Silver, nickel, gold, or copper? Gold medal is made mostly of
Gold.
what metal? You said gold? Let's find out. Oh, no, that is incorrect. Incorrect.
Nickel.
The
Nickel.
answer actually is silver. Silver. The last Olympic
Why?
medal that was actually solid gold was awarded in 1912. Today, gold medals are 92.5% silver.
Well,
They
that's
cheat,
misleading.
y'all.
They cheat. All right. This is the next question, and we're going to go straight to Akil. What is the Olympic motto? You should know this, Akil. Faster, higher, stronger. Man's reach exceeds his grasp. Refuse to lose or dare to be great.
Run, Joe. No, it's
Run, Joe. Did he just run, Joe?
Right. Look, go for you guys. Now, faster, higher, stronger. It is Sidious Altius Fortius.
Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry, our little mouse is acting up. Okay, faster, stronger. That is correct. Correct.
Faster,
Correct.
higher, stronger.
The Olympic model is Sidious Altius Fortius, which is Latin. It was proposed by Pierre de Coubertin upon the creation of the International Olympic Committee in 1894. All right, Robbie, you ready?
I am.
What country boycotted the 1980 Summer Olympics? Was it United States, Russia, France, or Cuba?
Here we go with the easy question.
Did you say Russia? You said Russia?
Russia.
Russia is not correct.
Oh, Cuba. Dang.
Was it?
Oh, no, it was
Cuba is not correct.
Because the games were in the U.S. Yeah.
It was the U.S.
That is
And then
correct.
Close.
Russia boycotted the 84 Olympics, which is why we won so many gold medals.
The United States boycotted the 1980 Summer Olympics to protest the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. All right.
Yep.
Let's go, Lizzie.
Watch
Let's
I
see
get-
what you got.
Watch
Oh,
I get this one wrong.
what Black Olympian has been credited with single-handedly crushing Hitler's myth of Aryan supremacy?
Jesse
Jesse
Owens.
Owens.
This is my class yesterday.
Usain Bolt, Muhammad Ali, George Coleman Page,
Owens.
Jesse Owens. That is correct.
Nice.
Correct, Lizzie.
Good job.
Owens' success.
There's an iconic picture actually of this moment. It was the Berlin Olympics, and so Jesse Owens won a gold medal, and so there's the bronze medalist is in front of him, and then the German silver medalist is behind him, and the German medalist is giving the Heil Hitler sign. So I will post that image on the TLS website. I will post it on our Facebook.
Please.
Just taught this the other day in class, y'all.
That's great.
So Owens' success at the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin was an unpleasant surprise for Adolf Hitler, who had hoped the games would showcase a resurgence in Nazi Germany. Instead, Owens was the most successful athlete, winning international fame with 4 gold medals. All right. So we're going up back to you, Gianni. Give you a chance to come back. Which of these animals were used in the 1900 Olympics? Dang, Johnny, you're getting the hard ones, Johnny.
I know.
Akil.
Which animals were used?
We're gonna let you.
Fair.
You can poll the audience on this one. We're gonna let you.
1900.
The audience has been getting some right answers, by the way.
I want to say camels. TBA.
You going with camels?
Maybe it's. Can I ask Akil for help?
You can ask Akil for help.
Don't do it.
All right, we got
camels.
nobody helping you online either. So.
Oh, no camels. Definitely not pigeons. Elephants.
We're going with elephants. All right, you got no help online, so we're going with elephants. That is incorrect. Elephants is incorrect.
Camels.
Camels, incorrect. I think it's pigeons. I'm going with pigeons. Yes.
I said pigeons.
Yeah, pigeons. While competitors typically shot, so that was incorrect. While competitors typically shot at disc-shaped targets called clay pigeons, in the 1900 games in Paris, they featured targets as real pigeons. All right.
Lord.
Akil,
what?
getting harder. It's getting harder, Akil. So here we go. Hans Gunnar Lindenwall was the first Olympic athlete to be disqualified for drug use. Which banned substance did he consume?
Cocaine.
Cocaine, steroids, alcohol, or marijuana? The first Olympic athlete to be disqualified for drug use.
Wow. I'm gonna go with cocaine.
Okay, let's see. Cocaine is incorrect. Any other guesses? Steroids? Not steroids. It was alcohol.
During prohibition.
Wow.
It happened.
Wow. How was that
Liljenwall reportedly had 2 beers to calm his nerves before the pistol shooting event. As a result, the entire Swedish team was disqualified. Good Lord.
Very
So
sensitive.
you know,
I'm about to use a firearm. I need another drink. What?
you know
All right.
what's crazy though? It is sport specific like that. If you take a depressant or something that, you know, in the sports where you're trying to reduce your heart rate, that's considered an illegal, a banned substance.
Oh, that makes sense.
Wow.
So yeah, Monica Alicia got it right, by the way. All right.
You know?
How old was the old? This is for Rob B. How old was the oldest Olympic medal winner? 64, 56, 72, or 48? The oldest Olympic medal winner.
That's a good.
You know what? I'm going to say 64.
64. Okay, we're going to see 64 is incorrect. Incorrect.
Speed walking's a thing. It's an Olympic game.
Lizzie, do you know?
I do not know, but I'm going to guess and say 56.
56 is incorrect.
That has to be
I would say
48 is
71.
incorrect. 72 is the correct
72.
answer.
Curling. Is it curling?
Yeah.
During the 1920
Double shot,
Summer Olympics, Swedish shooter, a shooter, of course,
Yeah.
Oscar Swan won a silver medal in the double shot running deer contest. He was 72 years old.
And he did it sober. So good for him.
All right,
It's fine
Lizzie,
to say
this
that.
is your opportunity to win the game because there's 1 point for Akil, 1 point for Rob B. Gianni Storm is out of the game. You can take the win right here with this. The longest wrestling match in Olympic history lasted how many hours? Was it 11 hours, 7 hours, 3 hours, or 15 hours?
So, Robbie, I'm not going to use the usual C guess. I don't think that.
You don't think it was 3 hours, okay?
No, I don't think it's 3 hours.
A wrestling match for 3 hours. Lord. 11 hours. Wow.
I'm going to say 7.
All of those hours.
You're going with 7 hours for a wrestling match. All right, let's see. That is incorrect. 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 He is incorrect. Not 3 hours. Not 50. It's 11 hours.
That's
In the
insane.
wrestling
I wrestled in high school,
semifinal
man.
of 1912 Summer Olympics, Martin Klein and the Alfred Askin, I don't know what that, grappled for 11 hours and in 40 minutes before Klein finally managed to pin Askin. And Klein was so exhausted from the bout that he was unable to wrestle for gold the next day.
The Swedes again! The Swedes again!
Okay, guys, this is the final answer. And so the first person to answer, this is between Lizzie, Robbie, and Akil. The first person to answer with the correct answer wins. All right, here it is. Which athletes enter last in the Parade of Nations at the opening ceremony?
Zimbabwe.
Is it disabled athletes, the hosts, Zimbabwe, or Greece?
Zimbabwe.
host.
It's alphabetical order, my friend.
The host country. I
The
said
host?
it first.
Hosts are first.
Oh, that host is correct. So Lizzie, you win the game. Good job, Lizzie. Don't go anywhere, Akil. We're going to bring you back. We're still going to bring you back.
Akil has to give me that medal for my victory.
That was a good job. Let's get in our shout outs real quick. Let's get in some shout outs. All right, let's start with Gianni Storm. What's your shout out, Gianni?
Shout out to the TLS Creatives Contest. This is the last week to enter. So the Creatives Contest is just submit any type of creative entry, a phrase, a word, a picture, something you designed, and the links will be in our bios on our platform.
All right, Robbie Rock.
Shout out to everyone that's feeling like they need that a little bit of humanity. That feel-good story from Johnny, it's that was just really so inspiring. That there is a lot of good left out there. A lot of the stories that we cover, unfortunately, don't focus on it as much. But I mean, you can be the change. You can absolutely do those things. So hats off to all the volunteers that gave their time to ensure the safety of those creatures. And you know what? The kinder you are to the lesser in our ecosphere, it's a growing opportunity. It's love.
All right, Lizzie Enders.
Want to give a quick shout out to my girl Melanie. I'm not sure if she's watching tonight. Love you. Got your message. Happy for you. So yay. Boom, boom, boom. Onward and upward.
Oh, we want to know what is happy for what?
Neil.
All right. I know it's private. All right, Akil. You got any shout outs, Akil?
No, shout out to all the Wilson peeps that are checking out the show tonight, and a shout out to you guys for all the wonderful laughs and sort of insight that you guys bring to the world.
Oh, we thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate you joining us. It was a fun time with you for sure. So we appreciate you.
Thank you for being a first.
All right, Akil. Thank you again for everything. We'll see you soon. We'll talk to you soon. We'll try to get you back on the show at some point.
All right, now.
All right, my friend.
Awesome.
All right, now my shout out goes to my Facebook friend Laura Bellucci, who came to me to ask some really complex questions about race and that she didn't quite understand. And I appreciated the questions because that's what our show is all about. Because I don't have all the answers. None of us on this show have all the answers. But the more we talk about it, the more we can come to a common understanding. So I really appreciated the conversation with her and all the conversations I have with and share with all of you guys, even when I'm playing devil's advocate. And hey, if you have a business,
got to do it.
Right, exactly. If you have a business, an event, or person you want to give a shout out to, follow our hosts on social media and reach out to any of them on their social media feeds, and they may just shout you out. All right, that's all the time we have for our show today. Now, I hope you learned something new, gained a new perspective, or even got some things off your chest. Don't forget, we need your support to keep this thing going. Like, follow, and subscribe at TLSLiveShow. And now, last show, we had Carlotta Walls. I want you guys to go and check out those clips. Check out that episode. It was an amazing episode. Carlotta Walls of the Little Rock Nine, the youngest member. So go on YouTube, youtube.com/TLSLiveShow. Check out all those clips. And if you missed any of today's episodes, subscribe to YouTube, and don't forget to subscribe to the audio replay of the podcast on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. I had a fun time today, and I hope you did too. Sending a special thank you to Aquil Abdulah for sharing his story, his historic story. Our next live show is on Sunday, February 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Daryl Michael Scott, a history professor at Howard University, will be joining the show. He's the focus of an article about Carter G. Woodson. So, looks like our winner for today's show was Lizzie Enders. Lizzie Enders is on a run lately, so...
I got a little streak going. I'm like the Wizards. The Wizards lost last night, but they won 5 in a row, so I got a little showing.
All right, Lizzie. Give us our final thought.
Final thought, you know what? I'm not going to say anything lengthy or whatever. I just, vaccines are coming up for people. Hopefully, I will get mine in the next couple of days, and I'm very excited about that. Everyone, do your part to make sure that we are here this time next week, this time next month, this time next year. Be safe, wear your mask, get vaccinated. Boom.
All right, thank you, Lizzie, and thank you again. Excuse me. Thank you again, Akil. Thank you, Gianni. Thank you, Robbie Rock. You guys have a wonderful time, and we will see you on Wednesday for another episode. See you later, guys.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.